I cannot leave this conversation without talking about WIMBIZ. I'm sure everyone on the call is wondering, when do we get to this WIMBIZ conversation? Because that is where we share a strong history. That is where we first met. That is where we shared our passion for changing the world in terms of giving women opportunity. And I think your role in WIMBIZ and the conversation about WIMBIZ is also one of those early things. Because I know now it is fashionable to have women's groups and to have, workshops and to have all of these things. But when WIMBIZ started in 2001, it was pretty novel. So can you tell us about this WIMBIZ idea? Tell us what we don't know, what many people don't know, how we started, and then end with your view of sort of groups like that. Are they still relevant today? Is there something else we should be doing? The floor is yours.
The greatest story about WIMBIZ is that WIMBIZ was actually, first of all, initiated by a man and sort of cooked and nurtured whatever in a kitchen. So that, I think that's such a good story. It was a colleague of mine in Accenture, Chichi Okonjo, who had been to a conference in South Africa, a women's conference in South Africa, and said, we must do this in Nigeria. And he came to me and says, look, Omobola, what do you think about this, a women's conference in Nigeria? Because it'd never been done before. I said, oh, this is fantastic. Went into Mori Babalola's kitchen, or Mori Desalu now, with my sister, Yewande Zacchaeus. We're in her kitchen thinking, this is such a good idea. Who should we bring on to join us in this? And then we ended up with 12 women and one man on the WIMBIZ Board of Trustees. And the idea then was to, first of all, start with we had a very big mission, which is, as you know, to elevate the profile and influence of women in management and business. That was a big vision that we had, because we knew that women really were not, they were not pulling their, pulling their weights. They were being underrepresented. And we say, you know what, all of the women in WIMBIZ then were in, fairly substantial positions. I was MD of Accenture, Bola Adishola was MD of Kakawa Discount House, my sister, Billy Awishika. All those people were women of substance, even then, we were all in our sort of 40s, early 40s to late 40s. And we came together, we held the big first conference, very successful. Fast forward, 20 years, where what we've done successfully is, first of all, WIMBIZ has become a brand. It's a brand that represents women in management, in business, in politics, in government. As you know, Aishah, we've actually expanded the role of WIMBIZ over the years. And then what we've also done is actually taken, it's not just about conferences, it's about how women think. It's about how women are inspired by coming to any of our events, when they see women that look like them, talk like them, who are very successful. It's about addressing issues that are relevant for women. All those things are really, really important. Advocacy is very important. Just very quickly, I was sitting with the MD of Guinness just a couple of days ago, and he told me, again, talking about the event that they had, it was saying, the biggest problem we have with gender representation is that by law, we're not allowed to have women work on shifts in our factories. Because the law, the gender-based law says that, oh, no, women cannot work shifts and everything, so they can't. And so now we're working with Guinness to advocate that this law should be abolished and let women choose whether they want to work in shifts or not. So just talking about advocacy as well, and really pushing for things to be an enabling environment that will enable women, that will help women to succeed and to grow. Of course, WIMBIZ is 21 years old, very proud of what we have accomplished, influence and supported thousands of women. Very proud of the fact that you are one of the executive chairpersons, and the fact that WIMBIZ has gone from generation to generation. It just keeps renewing itself. I'm just amazed at what we've been able to do, and stepping back now, very, very, very proud of it.
Yes, in fact, I'm definitely part of that story. I remember at my time as chair, we're thinking about how to make it more inclusive. It goes in waves. How do we get the younger generation in? And that was when we started thinking more also about CSR, the Big Sister program, going in, being, advocates. I love what you said about, it's not just about the conference, because people see it as, okay, it's the largest conference. Indeed, I think in Africa, the largest conference of the most accomplished women in business, public service and in careers and entrepreneurs that you can find anywhere. People marvel at that. Well, I think it is inspiration. I agree with you. It is that feeling in the room, the energy, the can-do spirit that women come out with. They see other women like them, and these women are telling them, I'm not special. You can do the same thing I did. I think that's the biggest thing about the WIMBIZ story. And I agree with you on the advocacy, using our platforms, to achieve greatness. I don't know if people missed what you said. It was started by a man and cooked in a kitchen. You know, and there's sort of nothing else tells you that all spaces matter, all genders matter, and all spaces matter. And we can use our power wherever it is we are, in the kitchen, you know, or if we're a man, we can have an idea that transforms the female gender. Thank you. I want to thank you especially for taking up that idea, getting the people together to put it together. And I think one of the biggest lessons about WIMBIZ as well, I think, is the succession. So that is not a gender issue, but I think having a seamless succession and having it implemented is lead to longevity in institutions. And and if you have not thought about it already, I think you should think about a case study of the whole project.
Actually, the Lagos Business School is writing a case study for us.
Oh, they are? Okay,
they
perfect.
Are, yes,
perfect.
they are.
I look forward to reading it.